Most unusual item you have ever seen left at a curb?
That's a great question. A whole house. So
Whoa.
we received we received a C-click fix on an eviction, and we are not allowed to touch any of those items or make contact within 30 days until the person that got evicted can go retrieve their belongings. So when we went out there, it was the whole house that was outside from the front door until the curb. So
Oh, my gosh.
after the 30 days, or not 30 days, I'm sorry, 24 hours, we got a hold of the management company and owner, and they got with sanitation, and they got it cleaned up pretty fast. But it was pretty interesting to go out there and be like, okay, what do we do with this? It's a mountain of stuff.
Yeah. What's up, College Station? I'm Grace Hollowell, and today my guest is Tommy Shilling, our Code Enforcement Supervisor. Welcome back, Tommy.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, it's your first time here on the new set, so welcome. And we are going to be talking about some move-out best practices today. It's hard to believe that this year has already gone by so fast.
Yes, ma'am.
And we are in move-out season for our college students. But to kick things off, for those who may not be familiar with you, tell us a little bit about you and what you do for the city.
Yeah, I'll just kind of give you a background. I'm originally from Waco. I moved to College Station in 2007. I started with the city in 2010, moved over to Code Enforcement in 2017, and was recently promoted to Code Supervisor in 2022. I actually have 5 code officers that are underneath me with a staff assistant, and I make sure that they're operating efficiently, proactively, and reactively checking their areas for common code violations and state laws.
Yes, and when you think about the size of College Station, having only 5 code officers, that's a lot of area for them to cover.
Yes, ma'am. It's a tall task, but with the officers that we have and the support from the fire department, we are able to achieve that task pretty good, actually.
Yes, and you recently moved to being under the fire marshal's office. Before it was under the community services umbrella. How has that transition been for you?
It was a little bit scary at first, right? Yeah. Because I have worked for the same director and assistant director for 15 years. And then they had recently retired at the beginning of last year. So it was kind of where are we going? Where's code enforcement going to go? And then they decided to go with the fire department and under the fire marshals. And it's actually been really, really good because they do fire prevention and other prevention stuff, and they handle permits as well.
Yeah.
And we really do coincide very well together. So if we are working a case that involves like illegal dumping or whatever, since they're certified peace officers, we kind of get them in the mix. If we're taking any administrative action against homeowners or utilities customers, they kind of help facilitate that.
Yeah, so it seems like a very natural move.
Yes, it's been easy, thank goodness.
Yes. So what is one thing that you wish more people knew about code enforcement?
I would have to say of how great of a team that I do have. Our code enforcement officers, like Grace said, I have 5. They're assigned to their areas, so we have 5 areas. They proactively and reactively check that area. They, for the amount of students that we have and regular population, they have good, strong cases, and they try and help facilitate that through our standard operating procedures.
Yes, and their goal they're never there to punish anybody. They want to educate and help correct.
No, we usually ask for 100% compliance because we don't want to be that bad person. But
Right.
We have those onesies and twosies that, just can't fix that bad behavior, and we do have to cite or do a summons request on them.
Right. And what is the biggest misconception people have about what you do?
That is a great question. So I probably would have to say the misconception is the actual power that we do have.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of our citizens, and like I said, they're great. They put in, C-click fixes, or they call our office or put in complaints. They think it's going to get fixed like that. Right. Well, we have state laws, we have local ordinances, especially if we have to take administrative action, say we have to cut somebody's yard or take their junk vehicle from them, right? We have those SOPs that keeps us from getting sued and losing our TDLR license. So whenever we're working through those systems or those cases, it's not going to get fixed in one day. We do have a process. And I think a lot of our citizens don't understand that from time to time.
Yes, and again, the C-Click fix
Yes.
makes it easy to report them, so you can make those reports in an instant, but
Yes.
definitely give our employees some time to
Right,
get it
right.
fixed.
Yes, I mean, usually, especially with the rain that we've had
Right.
this past month, right? So we've kind of extended those cases because, we don't want people put ruts in their yard or anything
Right.
like that, especially from the rain. So just kind of be mindful of that when you put in that request. Usually it's through C-Click Fix, it's a great tool between us and the citizens. It assigns to the appropriate code officer, and then you can have a back and forth comments in the comment section to kind of get an update on where that case stands.
Yes, great tool for us
Yes,
to have.
yes, ma'am.
So what is your favorite thing about your job?
My favorite thing is, number one, I love my team. Number two, I love the interaction with citizens. I really do. I am a public servant at heart. I have been with the city for 16 years now, and I love the communication between us and the citizens because in the end, we do work for them. So I think being out in the community, educating, whether we're having to enforce not or write warnings, right? We build that bond and that relationship with our citizens.
Yes, absolutely. And this kind of goes off of that, but how does what you do impact our community?
So it enhances the quality of life for our citizens, right? And that's one of the misconceptions is beautification, right? And I get that. Code enforcement's not in beautification. We're in the immediate health and safety. So they do coincide a little bit, right? So, open storage, accumulation of trash and junk vehicles, right? Like that puts a nuisance on other people and citizens, and it's immediate health and safety. So that's where we get involved. We do those through the local ordinances and state laws.
Yes. And what is your favorite springtime memory over your time here in College Station?
Well, I don't really know of my favorite springtime.
It's a busy time for y'all.
It is a busy time. One thing I didn't know about until I started with the city is wildflower season.
Yes.
So it starts, if I remember correctly, it's May 1st through June 15th. I do love that in the spring because I do love flowers as well. So you kind of see those. You see the houses that have the flowers and all that stuff, and they're really getting behind that, and it's really beautiful. And I love that part of spring.
Yeah, and even the bluebonnets along the highway is something that I didn't expect. Pennsylvania, where I'm from, is very green, but we don't have a whole lot of wildflowers just on the highway. It's just grass or dirt. So it really makes those drives between here in Houston or here in Austin or wherever you're going very a bit more exciting to look at.
Yes, I mean, if you think about it, the lots are just look at Highway 6, before they started the construction, of course. Bluebonnets were everywhere, and it's just gorgeous, and it looks good for our city.
Yes. So how can people contact you if they have questions about what we talk about today?
Okay. You can always call code enforcement at 979-764-6363, or you can put in a request through code enforcement at cscx.gov. And I think those are the two platforms. And of course, I'm sorry, C-Click Fix.
Yes.
So it is a free app that you can download on your phone. So please download that on your phone. It's a great communication tool between citizens and staff. It has any request category that you're looking for. So if it's a weeds and grass or accumulation, it has a GIS location. You put the request in, and it automatically routes it to the appropriate department and code officer. If, say, it's like a pothole, that's directed straight to Public Works. Sanitation problems, if you need a new trash can lid, it directs it straight to sanitation, and the sanitation supervisor can automatically respond to those citizens. So those are the three ways you can contact code enforcement.
Yes, very helpful tool. So for those who are our college students that are beginning to think about moving out, why does move out season tend to be such a busy time for your team?
Right, because look at it holistically. We are one of the biggest universities in the country, right?
Yeah.
We have 76,000 students. And then our regular population outside of the Texas A&M or blend students. So we're growing fast. And a lot of people don't understand with the amount of turnover that we have here in College Station, especially like if there's a graduation or come the fall semester into spring semester, we have a lot of people that are moving out during that time. So A lot of people don't understand the amount of trash or or bulk trash that comes out of this area. It would make your head spin, I promise you.
Yes, we had Caroline on not too long ago talking about what to do with your trash when you're moving out, and your bulk pickup. So definitely get the curbside app to help keep track of that.
Yes.
But going off of that, what are some of the most common code violations that you see during this time?
During move in, move out. Sorry. Usually we start with parking issues, of course. Yeah. And then we have accumulation of trash and then bulk pickup. Those are the three main ones we see during this time.
Yes. And why do issues like trash and bulk items become such a problem this time of year?
It's just the sheer numbers, right? And then a lot of people don't understand, especially at multifamily. So our apartment complexes, they do not receive bulk pickup. So what they have is a designated bulk area, and they have to call it in with sanitation. Caroline's crew is great of taking those requests in. They have to pay a fee to get sanitation to come out and collect. So a lot of people don't understand that, and the apartment complexes don't understand that. They think they have utilities customers, so they pay for bulk pickup. So they start accumulating mattresses and appliances and like all kinds of other stuff, furniture, and stuff like that. And then the sanitation won't know to go pick that up because they don't have a request. So what my team does, especially around this time, we go out to the management companies in these apartment complexes and we hand out educational flyers, make contact, just kind of educate them, hey, get a roll-off staged in your areas. That way the accumulation won't like spill into the street or anything like that. So.
Yes. And can you explain what the city ordinance says about trash and debris left behind at properties?
Okay. Accumulation of trash is just, it's not allowed, right? Because it harbors rats and infestation and stuff like that. So usually you have to bag that and put it in your trash can receptacle. Bulk pickup, and a lot of people don't understand that, is you can't put out bulk or brush items 48 hours before your collection.
Right.
So, a lot of people do most of their work over the weekends, right? So in my area, or where I live, my bulk pickup is on Friday, right? So I know better because also working for the city and know the city ordinances, I'll leave it on the side of the house and I'll drag it out front. So a lot of people do their work and they put it out even though their collection's later on during that week. So what we do is we take a proactive approach and get in those areas that we have bulk problems, leave educational flyers, knock on doors, do knock and talks, and try and educate them as best we can. And then we facilitate through the apartment complexes. We usually get a hold of Caroline's team or sanitation's team to see if somebody's called in that work order to come pick up that trash at the apartment complex. And if they don't, then we'll reach out to the management company and get that facilitated for them.
So how can students and residents avoid contributing to neighborhood clutter or unsafe conditions during the move-out season?
That is an absolutely great question. Know your city ordinances. Know your sanitation. Know your pickup, right? Be proactive. Don't be reactive, right? If you know that you're fixing to move out and you're fixing to put a lot of stuff out, contact your management company, your owner or previous owners or management companies. Let them know what's going on. Hey, I'm moving out. I'm leaving this at the curb, because ultimately it reverts back to the management company and owners. The utilities customer does. So they're the ones that's going to get the phone call. So look at your local ordinances. Call us. We will gladly tell you your day and kind of facilitate that for you.
Yes, and now talking a little bit about property maintenance expectations.
Yes.
You kind of touched on it a little bit, but what responsibilities do tenants have when it comes to maintaining the property that they're at as they move out?
Okay, depending on your lease, most of all cases that we work, it is the sole responsibility of the tenant, or AKA the utilities customer, because that owner and management company has a guaranteed contract lease through them, and eventually it would be up to the owner, but since they have a contract that protects them against the utilities customer is going to receive the citation or the knock on the door or the phone call.
Yes, so that is very important to know your lease. If you have questions, talk to your property manager, your landlord.
Yes, abide by that lease. That is a contract that the city cannot get you out of. So that is between you and the management company and owner.
And if you have questions about it or need some help, our neighborhood services department
Yes.
here, Tatelin, neighborhood
Barbara
services,
Moore,
Barbara
they're
Moore.
great stewards of the city. We work with them one-on-one when we do our walk-in talks. We work with off-campus student services through A&M as well. We target areas that have kind of a high influx in code enforcement, I guess you would say violations. And then we go out and do walk-in talks. We hang door flyers. We have code swag, and it kind of gets that information out to the citizens.
Yes, and I think it's important to keep in mind that if you're unsure on something, never just make an assumption that you're doing the right thing. Always ask questions.
Yes.
And read those ordinances, read your lease to get the 100% certainty that you're doing the correct thing.
Right. And like I said, our office is always there for you anyways, because like I said, we work for the citizens. So if you ever have questions, it doesn't matter how small or big, call us, and then we'll get that answer to you if we don't know for sure.
Yes. And what should landlords and tenants alike both keep in mind to avoid violations?
Kind of the same thing that we just talked about. Know the ordinances, know your pickup time, know your collection time. That way you can avoid those violations. Be proactive, don't be reactive.
Yes. So can you talk a little bit about, moving on from trash, but talking about ordinances related to weeds and grass?
Yes, actually, that is a great question, especially right now, like we talked about earlier. The rain that, College Station and the Houston area has been privy to for the last month, it makes the grass go up really, really fast. So the city ordinances, it has to be 12 inches. It cannot be more than 12 inches throughout the majority of the yard. So usually the reason why that is, it's an immediate health and safety because, rats and snakes like to hide in tall grass.
Right.
So usually what we do is we, leave a door tag and make contact with the utilities customer. If it's in their contract that the owner management company is under contract to mow that yard, then we just contact them, trying to get those yards down at the appropriate height.
Yes, and I know, I feel like I just mowed my grass and then walked outside this morning and was like, man, again, it's time.
Yes.
But that rain is definitely, it's needed.
It is needed because, as you know, last year we had a very wet spring and a very dry summer. So I'm anticipating it being the same this year. But I will take on the rain because it's free. Thank you.
Now, parking can get a little bit chaotic during this time as well, like we mentioned. What are some key rules to keep in mind during this time?
Okay, that is also a great question. Know your surroundings, right? Pay attention to where you park. Make sure there's no signage that has prohibited parking. If there's a stop sign or a fire hydrant or, an intersection, make sure you're parked the correct way of traffic. Don't face traffic, because if you pull on to oncoming traffic as you're parked wrong, you are liable. So just make sure you know your surroundings and make sure you know local ordinances. Just pay attention to those signs.
Yes, and don't park in your yard either.
Yes, do not, because as the anticipated probably drought that we're going to experience in the summer, if you park your vehicle on the yard, number one, you're driving over sprinklers, you're in our groundwater, right? And then also, if we could have a dry summer, that grass will turn to dust, and then here you're gonna have a grass fire. So let's just kind of be mindful of that. Do not park on the yard.
Yes. And are there restrictions on trailers or moving trucks blocking the street or sidewalks?
Yes. Number one, it does. Any vehicle cannot block a sidewalk or an intersection, right? Right now, we kind of understand what's going on, especially with the moving vans and other stuff like that. So as long as you're unloading or you're actively unloading or loading, you can park in those areas, but the trailers can't be parked on the street all the time, right? Because especially if a fire truck or a EMS truck or sanitation trucks need to get down those very narrow streets, leaving those vehicles with trailers, you can't facilitate a move if they need to operate in that area. So just be mindful of that. And like I said, just look at signage.
Yes, and that's a good point too. You mentioned not parking in front of the fire hydrants. This is something that y'all touch on in the community living
Yep.
course. But if there is a fire and they need that hydrant, they will go right through your car to get to it, and you will be responsible for those repairs.
Yes, they will.
Yes. So, what is the easiest way for someone to avoid getting a citation during move out?
Just know your local city ordinances and your state laws, right? Like I said, if you ever have a question about something during move in, move out, call us. We can facilitate those questions. Just make sure you're parking the right way. Don't park in a prohibited area. And don't block stop signs and fire hydrants.
Yeah.
So.
And if somebody does see a notice or a warning, what should they do next?
Okay, well, if it's a warning, learn from it, please, right? Because like I said, we want 100% compliance. We don't really want to have to do citation after citation, right? But that's one, like I said, onesies and twosies that you have to. So if it's a warning, learn from it. If it ended up being a citation, depending on the egregiousness of the violation, go through the municipal court system. All the tickets have the contact information for municipal court on the back of the ticket.
And what is the difference between a warning tag and an official citation?
There will be a fine associated with the citation. There will be all zeros for a warning.
How can residents report issues like illegal dumping or neglected properties?
Just like we previously stated, C-Click Fix, it is a wonderful tool because, as you said, these 5 code officers are operating proactively and reactively. They're not going to notice everything when we're out there, right? It's like police down Texas Avenue hitting every speeder. It just can't happen, right? But C-Click Fix is a great tool. If you see it, C-Click Fix it, put the request in, and then we'll get on it.
Yes, and what role do neighbors play in keeping the community clean during high turnover times?
Neighbors are great. Neighbors notice stuff. A lot of people don't understand the code of ordinances, right? So their neighbors will put in a request, and you can remain anonymous, of course. But like I said, it gets it to the code officer for that area.
Yeah, and I think this goes back to the being a good neighbor. And,
yes.
If you see your neighbors might be struggling with some trash, be like, hey, you need some help cleaning up.
Right.
Offer, hey, don't know if you know, but you can't park like that.
Right.
Don't want you to get in trouble, so I'm just letting you know.
Right. Right. Yeah. The good thing is, be a good neighbor, right?
Yeah.
Just go introduce yourself. Go talk to somebody. Have a conversation, right? Instead of going straight to us, right? Because when we have to take that enforcement action, it's not good, and then it's good, right? Because we get the violation resolved, but it also could put neighbor against neighbor. Yeah, just have a conversation.
And that brings up another good point about C-Click Fix, is that it is not a social media app.
Yes.
It is not, even though you can be anonymous, it is not the place to air out your grievances or your dirty laundry between you and your neighbors.
Yeah.
So keep things respectful.
Yes.
And related to the violation that you see.
Yes, it's a reporting website that the city has. Don't air out any dirty laundry on there, right? Because we'll flag it and we'll take it down.
Yes. What are your top 3 must-do tips for a smooth, violation-free move-out?
Pretty much like what we've talked about. Number 1, know your local ordinances. Download the curbside app. Know your collection time. Get a hold of sanitation. Be proactive versus reactive.
Before we go, we have a fun little round of code violation lightning questions. We're going to just rapid fire, and you tell me the first thing that comes to mind. Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay. Coffee or energy drinks during move-out week?
I don't drink either.
Okay.
But I would take an energy drink over coffee. I do not like coffee.
Gotcha. Early bird or last-minute packer?
I'm an early bird.
Okay, me too.
I overpack.
Me too. Most unusual item you have ever seen left at a curb?
That's a great question. A whole house. So we received a C-Click Fix on an eviction, and we are not allowed to touch any of those items or make contact within 30 days until the person that got evicted can go retrieve their belongings. So when we went out there, it was the whole house that was outside from the front door until the curb. So
Oh my gosh.
after the 30 days, or not 30 days, I'm sorry, 24 hours, we got a hold of the management company and owner, and they got with sanitation, and they got it cleaned up pretty fast. But it was pretty interesting to go out there and be like, okay, what do we do with this? It's a mountain of stuff.
Yeah. Your most overlooked move out tip?
Most overlooked? Probably being proactive.
Yeah.
Because like I said, a lot of people, we have a lot of turnover here, right? Because of the students, right? You're here to get an education, but you do live in the city, and you have to use city resources. So I think a lot of people don't understand local ordinances.
Mm-hmm.
So just trying to get that information out is great, but once we get that information out, it's you to understand and do that proactively. So I think getting that information is probably the most overlooked one.
And finally, your top piece of advice in one sentence?
Just be clean and follow the rules.
Okay, I think that sums it up pretty great.
Yep.
Well, thank you so much for joining me today, Tommy. One more time, where can people find out more information about code enforcement?
You can go through the C-Click Fix app. It's free. You can contact Code Enforcement 979-764-6363 or codeenforcement@cstx.gov.
And that's what's up.